Hey guys, how you doing today? Well, I can say I'm doing pretty good. I just got this right here, and this is the Maxace Midnight Cat Banshee. Um, this is the first video, actually, I think the only video probably that I've made on a Balisong that isn't a clone. Um, I really am enjoying it. It is from China, but that doesn't mean that it's a clone. Um, this knife right here is very good quality, and there's a lot of good things about it, and I couldn't find too many things that I disliked about it, although there is a couple things that I wanted to point out. Um, but what I do love about it, first of all, is one of the main points why I got it in the first place is the price range and the fact that it comes with a live blade as well as a trainer blade. And I loved the design of this trainer blade. It's like a tuning fork, and it sounds so cool. And I'll show you what it sounds like in a minute here. But I just wanted to point out a few things first. What you are gonna get with this is these spacers right here. These are regular steel spacers. The ones I have in here are aluminum, and the aluminum spacers are something you're going to have to order separately, and they're going to cost $15. The whole knife together costs $180 without, if you don't order extra parts or the aluminum spacers. I didn't realize at first, because it isn't stated very clearly, that it's $15 for extra screws and extra parts for the knife, and a separate $15 for the aluminum spacers. So I ordered the aluminum spacers thinking that it would come with extra screws and whatnot, but it only came with the spacers. But you do get the live blade and the trainer blade for just the flat rate cost of $150. So altogether, if you do get the spacers, the aluminum spacers, and the extra screws and extra parts, then that's going to cost $180, because it's $15 for each add-on that you order. Another impressive thing about this was that it came super fast for me. I don't know if this will be the case for everybody, but for me, this came within 10 days of ordering it. Sorry guys, my camera's not very good at focusing. I really love this G10 right here. Is jade, and I really like the way it looks. The camera doesn't really do it any justice. It looks way better in person. And there's another guy who has a video. What's his name? It's Balisongs for Breakfast. He does really good videos, Balisong reviews and such. It's better, honestly, better than mine. But he has the same style. Sorry, bud. I saw your video and I liked your combination you used, so I bought the same combination. I think those blue spacers look slick with the jade scales. You can also get red aluminum spacers, and the aluminum spacers are kind of what I feel like they're kind of a must, because they balance out the knife way better. Without the aluminum spacers, it kind of felt to me like it was just like it didn't feel balanced at all. It felt really kind of like too back end heavy for me. So that kind of threw me off. This live blade is so sharp. I played around with that for a little bit, and yeah, it was sharp. I didn't want to mess around with it too much, but I'm gonna throw it back on there once I do some things with this one. I just love the way this one sounds. It sounds great. I don't know if you guys heard it, but I don't know how well you guys can hear that. But it sounds awesome to me. I really, really enjoy it. And I just like not only the sound, I just love the way that it looks too. I think it's slick. And it falls in just the right price range. And now a couple negative things about this that I wanted to mention was that this is my first bearing knife. I've never owned a knife that had bearings before, and it is kind of a strange feeling at first. Like you can feel them when you're flipping, you can feel them roll around in there. You can feel the bearings move and roll, and it's kind of strange at first, but you get used to it. God, I just love the way it sounds. When I get done with this video, I'm gonna actually do some real flipping that I can have some space and whatnot. Other people are better at flipping on camera, but yeah, the bearings, back to the bearings. Sorry, I get off track a little bit. They feel kind of strange at first, and for me, I definitely had to break them in because the negative that I was going to talk about, the one of the bad things, was that I can't tighten and other people have had this problem too. It didn't seem to happen as much with the live blade, but with the trainer blade for sure, I couldn't tighten the pivots all the way down at first, and that really was pissing me off because I know it's not like, it's a lot of money for some people, including me. It's not cheap. This isn't like it's not a cheap knife. It's a good price range, but it's not cheap. And I feel like for 150 bucks, plus all the stuff, like 180, I feel like you should be able to absolutely tighten these pivot screws and these Zen pin screws all the way down. And I couldn't tighten either of them all the way down without it sticking and locking up at first. And oh yeah, just to show you, this is the play. There really isn't any. This is kind of more of the flex of the handles. But anyway, you couldn't tighten them all the way down, and that really was pissing me off. That's something I really look for, is like zero to like little to zero play, and the pivot screws and everything being able to tighten down and secured and be able to Loctite it. I put a little bit of Loctite in and they stayed in pretty good. But what happened was after I used it for a long time, it kind of broke in, and then I was fortunately able to tighten the pivot screws and the Zen pin screws all the way down. So if you do buy this knife, don't get discouraged at first if you can't tighten them all the way down. Just break it in for a while. It might take a little while. For me, it took like 2 days of flipping it whenever I could and messing around with it to break it in. I really love this. There's so much. There's jimping here on the side that feels really good. One thing about this knife when you're flipping it, the other negative I wanted to speak about is it's very blocky. It's super blocky in the hands. They did take out a little bit, like as you can see where your fingers live a little bit more up here. There is some space taken out right there, which makes it a little bit easier. You get used to the feeling of it. I mean, it's not horrible, but it feels very blocky. I was expecting it to be a lot like a rep, and it is in some ways, but it is also tighter in tolerances. I'd compare it more to almost like a Hom Basculus with the carbon fiber scales, but like thinner and a little more blocky, like smaller handles and a little more blocky. This knife is a little bit longer than like the Alpha Beast, I think. It's just a smidge longer. The handles are pretty long. Um, I love this knife so much. It's definitely my favorite knife at the moment. I like it a lot better than anything that I do have at the moment. Hold on one sec, guys. Sorry, I just wanted to hit my vape real quick. Um, the pocket clip for this is like ridiculous. It's so big. Um, it just felt really big to me, and I don't know. I don't like it. I don't usually leave pocket clips on, but I do. If you've seen a couple of my videos, leave latches on. Not all the time, but if it's a good latch, I like it. I like being able to close it up in my pocket and stuff. And I like the style of this latch. This is kind of like the latch you would see on Homs, a pin style latch, and it does have a spring on it. That's very nice. It snaps right open. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes the spring will even make the tuning fork kind of go ping when you open it, which is dope. Um, I don't know how well you guys can hear the ping sound, but it's a lot better in person, I guarantee it. Anyway, um, yeah, this video is getting long, but there's just so much I could say about this. I'm sure I missed a couple things. I really, really enjoy this knife. Uh, and I am gonna order the extra parts. That's one thing I forgot to order. There's so many parts. That's kind of another negative to this. There's so many little screws, and you just got to keep track of all those. And I would absolutely order the extra parts and the extra spacers if you do decide to get this. And you get this cool case too, which is pretty dope. Anyway, I know this video is pretty long, but I wanted to show you guys a knife that I bought that isn't a clone for once, and I do have a better job now, so I'll be showing some videos of nicer knives. I don't know if you guys like seeing the clone ones too, and some of the cheaper range ones. I'll keep making those too, and buying new ones of those, because I just love this hobby. So I'm not the best at it, but I enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun, and the people are great too. I've talked to some of you guys from the comments and had a chance to chat with some of you about a knife that I was selling, and that black and white rep clone that I had done some stuff to, and someone bought it, and it was a very good transaction. Good people. Um, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next vid. Alright, have a good guys. Bye.